Hello, hello, hello. Hey guys, it's your girl Topsygift, and today we're going to be talking about my experience growing up as a girl child. Oh, sorry. My experience growing up as a child, rather. Whichever one, girl, child, yeah, as a child, it's still the same. So, it's anyone on the line, just say something. Hello, 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 are you there? Are you there? Just say something. Who is the first to join us today? Who is the first to join us today? Hello, Sylvester. Thank you for joining. Mr. Sylvester, thank you so much for joining. God bless you. Today I'm going to be talking about my experience growing up as a child. It's really funny, but I'm sure we are going to learn some things today. I just trust God that we should that somebody will learn from my experience growing up as a child. It wasn't easy, but God be the glory. Hello, 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 Mr. Oyemade. Thank you for joining. God bless you. Please share this video and invite your friends. Today I'm going to be telling you guys my experience growing up as a child. It wasn't easy, but it all made me strong and made me who I am. This is Topsygift, and I'm here in Ivano-Frankivsk, Ukraine, and I'm going to be telling you my experience growing up as a child, as a girl child. It wasn't funny, but it's a glory to God. My husband is here. Clemsy Clements, thank you so much for joining. God bless you. Mr. Peter, thank you for joining. This is Topsygift here in Ivano-Frankivsk, Ukraine. I just want to share my experience growing up as a child. If you're just joining us, please help me share this video. Invite your friends. I'm sure somebody will learn something today. We all have experience growing up as kids, and today I choose to share mine because it's a whole lot. I had negative experience and I had positive experience growing up as a child, but we're just going to share a few of them today, and I hope you learn something. If you are a father, if you are a brother, if you are an uncle, if you're an auntie, I hope you learn something today. Hello, the Queen of Ivano-Frankivsk is here, T Amaka. Thank you for joining. Thank you for joining. Please invite your friends and share this video, and I hope to be a blessing to you guys today just by my little experience growing up as a child. It wasn't funny. Thank you so much, Prince, for joining. Thank you, Dema, for joining. God bless you. You could share this video, invite your friends. I'm sure we are going to learn from ourselves growing up as kids. You have your own experience, and I have my own experience, and I just want to share my little experience as growing up as a child. It wasn't funny, it wasn't easy, but to God be the glory, I'm still alive. Oh, thank you so much, Kenneth, for joining. God bless you. Just share this video, invite your friends, just so we could go on. I'm sharing to you my experience growing up as a child. My name is Topsygift here in Ivano-Frankivsk, Ukraine. God bless you. Thank you for joining. Okay, let's begin. Since we have few persons here today, I don't want to be in a haste sharing this experience, because it's really going to help all of us, being aunties, uncles, father, mother, sister, brothers, and even you as a teenager out there. Is really going to help you, because I really went through growing up as a child. I really went through a lot growing up as a child. Those were beautiful experience, but really painful experience. But God be the glory, because I am still standing strong. Okay, my experience growing up as a child wasn't easy. It was really tough. Mr. Anthony, thank you for joining. You could just drop your own experience, just drop your own comments. What you experienced as a child, even a boy, even if you're a girl growing up as a child, you could just drop your experience so some people can learn from your experience. experience growing up as a child. Okay, growing up as a child, I'm actually from Nigeria, and I grew up in the northern part of Nigeria, in Katsina State to be precise. And then my father used to be a very big boy. When I mean a big boy, he used to be a very rich man, and everything was moving on fine, and we were just growing, having everything we need, everything we want, everything we can ever desire, and it was all splendid. It was all beautiful, and we had fun growing up, but that experience really didn't last for too long, because for those of us who are Africans, who are Nigerians, we could testify that the northern part of Nigeria had a great problem, and I think between 1980 something to 2000 we left, because the Sharia thing was just all over the northern part of Nigeria, and it's all about Muslim killing Christians and Christian killing Muslims, and the Muslims like, leave our land, we don't want you guys. If you must stay here, then you have to dress like us, you have to be like us, you have to cover your nose, you have to dress like no bike man, a male should carry a female woman as a passenger. It got to burning churches, burning companies, burning houses, killing people, bloodshed everywhere. So people were so much in fear. You cannot just walk on the streets in a broad daylight without seeing blood and people hands spilling. Oh my God, it was so rough. Okay, it was really, really bad, and we were pretty kids then. And then my father was into oil, and then he had a lot of Muslim boys working for him. But every Friday as early as 2 a.m., 3 a.m., we run to a nearby army barrack just to have shelter, just to save our heads, because those Muslim guys, those northerners, actually go to people's houses, and then when they find out you're a Christian, they burn you and your building into ashes. So we always run. My mother always take us by her hands, early in the morning, as early as 12 a.m. she's up to make a little food for us, and then she puts it in a bowl, and she takes all of us, and then we all run maybe by 2:30 we run to that army barrack, and then you're just going to be hearing a lot of shooting. There's always killing, shouting, people crying everywhere. Mother is looking for kids looking for parents, and all that. It's wow. That experience was not funny. It wasn't funny, because we really didn't believe that we were going to still be alive till today, but God in his infinite mercy kept us till today. Hello ma'am, here's Nelson Bridget. Thank you so much for joining. God bless you, ma. You could share this video and invite your friends, and you could also drop your comments growing up as a child. So back then in the northern part of Nigeria, this experience was really, really bad, because parents couldn't find their kids, mothers couldn't find their husbands were looking for wives, and a whole lot of shit out there, and people crying, children homeless, this whole thing caused by ordinary ignorance, from these northerners. So that experience was really, really devastating, because we all left school. We couldn't go to school. There was nothing like go to school. Everybody was just afraid to even come out to see the light of the day. Everybody was just so scared. There was hunger, there was poverty. Oh my, you can't confidently go to the market to get anything. So you can't sell, you can't buy, you can't go to school. This was so bad. Everybody was desperate to leave that country. We were so desperate to leave Katsina State, because the killings, the bloodshed, the whole thing was so bad. People were afraid to go to church on Sunday because they don't know what will be their next, what will happen to them in the next few minutes. Churches were being burnt down, pastors burnt to ashes. Jesus Christ, this whole thing was really bad. So we were facing hunger. We couldn't go to school. We couldn't get water. The only thing we had then was water. We were lucky because my father, where we were staying, had a fence. It was a big compound, and then we had the very big gates, and we had water. So we had just water to drink. Thank you so much, Alufen Franklin, for joining. God bless you. Thank you so much, Chisunka. Sorry if I don't pronounce the name very well. Thank you so much for joining. So I'm sharing my experience growing up as a child, and my name is Topsygift, and I'm bringing to you this story from Ivano-Frankivsk, Ukraine. So back to base. Really, this thing was not funny. So my mother couldn't bear, and my mother was still breastfeeding my little baby. We had a little girl. My mother was still breastfeeding this little girl, and we had all this crisis. My father, we could hardly see my father because he was also making plans on how to leave the country, on how to take us out of that state, Katsina state. So the only chance we got to leave that state was in the night. Okay, thanks to my father, because he was kind enough to have good people around him, the good Muslims who were around him, who were working for him. Because my father, I think he picked some of them from the streets and he took care of them, and then they were working under him and he was paying them. So for them to return to him that goodness, that good gesture, was for those guys to risk their life so that they could get us out of Katsina state. How were we able to do this? Able to arrange a very big trailer, a very big car carrying bags of onions. These trailers transport onions from state to state. So these guys helped us to get us inside that onions, inside the bags of onions. Jesus, this heavy, very, very big bags of onions, we were hidden right inside, in the center of those onions, just so that they could hide us, because there were boys tying lots of things, carrying guns and knife and lots of things to kill any Christian or anybody trying to escape from that state. So they just want to kill. So the guys transported us in the night. We left all our belongings. You cannot carry anything. My father lost his job, lost company, he lost his cars. They were all burnt to ashes. Hey, Jesus Christ. So guys risked their life, gather all of us with my mother, put us in the middle of this car carrying heavy bags of onions, and you could practically feel onions on your head, on your neck, and we're all holding bags of onions like this. Kids, I'm talking about kids of just 8, 10, 11, 14, 15 years. My elder sister were pretty kid also then, maybe teenagers, but we were actually very little. So you could just have bags of onions holding, and the distance from Katsina state to the capital of Nigeria, Abuja, was really way far. I cannot count it in kilometer, but it's really way far. So we just cannot imagine holding bags of onions for hours just to escape death. Jesus. Thank you so much, David Abu Hamid, for joining. Thank you so much. I'm sorry if I don't pronounce the name well. So this whole thing was really painful, and we were all meant to shut our mouths. We were all meant to keep quiet, no crying. And I can't imagine my mother having a little baby, no food, and the child will not cry. And they were so scared because they don't want people to they don't want those guys, those street guys, to know that people are hidden under these onions. Because the moment they know that people are hidden under these bags of onions, they are going to bring us all out and slaughter us like goats. Thank you so much, Ma Stella, for joining. God bless you. They are going to kill us like ants. So I was just asking God. I said to myself, God, what is this? What are we really going to survive this whole thing? Are we really going to survive? Because at that point there was almost like no hope to survive. As the car was moving in the middle of that night, we could hear children screaming, mothers crying. Oh Jesus, it is not something you pray, even you wish your enemy to experience. That experience is not something you will pray for your own enemy to go through. But God be the glory, because we are actually alive, and nobody till today died. Nobody, not one of my mother's children, lost their lives. They all survived, thanks to God. And thanks to those two guys, because I don't even know them. If I see them today on the street, I wouldn't know who they are, because I was pretty way small when this whole thing was happening. So we're right there in the middle of nowhere. Okay, imagine trusting a northerner, and they are the ones killing these Christians. So my mother, she wasn't even having any choice than to trust these same people who say, oh madam, come in with your kids, let's help you escape this whole rot, let's help you escape this thing. My mother had no choice than to trust those guys, and we all entered that car, driving on the road. I remember several times we stopped on the road, because I heard those people saying, hey, stop there, where are you going and where are you coming from? Who are you carrying and what are you carrying? So those guys were like, oh, please, they spoke in Hausa language, that no, we are just travelers, we supply bags of onion, we supply onions to states, and here we are about to go to the city of Abuja. They want to go and supply these bags of onions, and I could hear those people telling them, is onions the only thing in that car? And I heard one of their commanders saying, search the car, search that car, although everybody come down from that car, search the car. Jesus, I cannot imagine how my mother's heart sank right inside her tummy. And we're like, God, my younger sister was about to cry, and my mother held her mouth and was like, don't make a noise. Everybody was quiet, everybody was fidgeting, everybody was so afraid, everybody was so curious. We didn't know what could become of us the next few minutes. Thank you so much, Mr. Agbaza, for joining. God bless you. Thank you, Mr. Gabriel, for joining. God bless you. Share this video, and you could also drop your comment or question or whatever you have. I'm just sharing my experience growing up as a child, and it was really a bad experience. And though I had some good experience, but I really thank God for where I am today, because if not for God, I don't think I would have been alive today. So those guys said to them, no, please, we are carrying only bags of onions, we don't have any other thing here, we have just bags of onions. And it's like, so if you have bags of onions, let's prove that you have just bags of onions. So those guys, those boys began to bring out the bags of onions. Oh Jesus, they began to drop those bags of onions, but it was too heavy. The bags of onions were too heavy. So I heard one of them say, sir, we are tired of bringing these bags of onions. We don't think there are people inside this place. If not, they would have made some noise. So their boss or their leader commanded them and said, okay, take back that bags of onions and let those men go. So that was how they at the first stop, they let us go after they dropped those bags of onions, and they couldn't find anybody inside. We all began to, the car moved. Oh Jesus, I could just imagine my mother taking a second breath, saying thank you Jesus, and we left. And just as we were going, it wasn't too long, we met another group of boys who said, come down, stop there, before I shoot. And those guys came down and were like, oh, sorry, we are just the same situation. We are just people traveling to make ends meet. These are what we get, these are what we do. We supply onions to states, and please, we are carrying just onions. Don't shoot. We are innocent people, and we are also Muslims like you. So when they realized those guys were Muslims, they said, no, we don't trust that you have just bags of onions in your car. And he ordered some of his boys to bring down those bags of onions. And guess what? We were all dying inside. There was no air from anywhere. We were all suffocating because we were hidden right inside the deepest part of that onions. And it was a heap. It was a heap of onions, heavy bags, and we were all meant to hold those bags of onions like this. Thank you, Jesus. We were all meant to hold those bags of onions like this. Just not as adults, not as teenager. I can't imagine an adult holding a very big bag of onions for hours without feeling pains and even feeling to let it go so that the onions can kill him. But as kids, we held those bags of onions and we were all moving. And those guys came down and started bringing down the same bag of onions, and we were so afraid. And in the middle of the night, in the middle of nowhere, we don't even know where we are going. We don't even know if those guys were taking us to another place to go and slaughter us. But we had faith in God that those guys were taking us to the right place. So we're hidden in that bags of onions. They started bringing down those bags of onions. And at a point, they were like, we can't see anybody. They told the commander, we can't see anybody here. Let these people go. And they were like, okay, take back those bags of onions. And they returned back those bags of onions and those people, and we left. And to God be the glory, we later got to the city of Abuja. Ma'am Elizabeth Obasi, thank you so much for joining. We later got to the city of Abuja, but it was, I can't imagine, I didn't believe I wasn't going to go through a neck surgery, because I was practically holding the bag of onions like this, and my bags were paining me. There was no food to eat, there was no water to drink. Little kids who did not bring themselves to this earth just because of crisis. We had to go through that, and it was not a fun experience, but I give God the glory. I never believed my younger sisters were even going to survive. No, oh my God, I never believed my own little baby being breastfed that was still going through Jesus, that was still being my mother was still breastfeeding her. I never believed that little girl could survive the pain, the hunger, the poverty, the pressure, the heat inside that car. The heat inside that car was such that can melt something. There was no air from anywhere. Thank you so much, Mr. Enoch, for joining. Thank you, Ogechi Lily, for joining. There was no air to breathe. There was no food to eat. We traveled for a journey of hours just to escape death. Death that we did not cause. Death that we didn't bring to ourselves just because of ignorance and religious crisis. Many lost their companies, lost their jobs, lose their lives, lose everything, and they had to start all over again. Oh, this life is so funny. This life is so amazing. It is so funny that sometimes when I think about people, when I hear about countries going through crisis, I can imagine, I can reflect back what people are going through. Because it wasn't easy for us. Those guys risked their life, and when we got to Abuja, those guys dropped. It was early in the morning. We dropped. We're practically holding our necks like this. We couldn't raise our head for minutes, for hours. We were feeling so much pain. And my mother was like, it's okay, it's to be fine, you guys are going to be fine, you guys are going to be fine. And trust me, we landed the city of Abuja without having any place to sleep. There was no uncle, there was no auntie, there was nobody. We were not having in mind anywhere to sleep. But before then, my mother had contacted a member of our church that was staying in Abuja. But we didn't know anywhere. We didn't know how to even locate them. So they were like, okay, you could come stay in our place, but we don't even know how to find them. So when those guys helped us to escape death, we landed in a place. The only thing I saw was rock, and that rock had eyes and all that. I don't even know how. We're just looking at the rock with a pain in our necks. We're just looking at everywhere. It's looking so strange. These were kids who had all to eat, all to drink, all to wear. Everything we needed was at our beck and call. We had good education to attend. We had everything. My mother usually don't go to the market. My father buy things in bulk. We have companies that supply us things, and all you need to do is to sign a signature and they put it in your warehouse. But here comes the reality of life. Faced as an innocent kid, and trust me, my father was nowhere to be found. He was in the city of Abuja trying to make way for us to come stay. But for God's sake, leaving your kids, it's not funny. My mother was still breastfeeding our little baby. There's no money, there's no food, there's no nothing. It was just God who kept us all through this moment of our lives. And when we got to that point, we didn't know what to do, so we tried, because we already told my father we'll be coming to this place, and so we waited for hours, and he came and picked us and took us to a family, one of our members' house, where we stayed for a couple of days. And you can't stay in somebody's house and there was no money. My father was practically not having, there was no money to even rent a house. We don't know, maybe we were even contemplating on going to sleep under the bridge. Oh Jesus, thank you so much. We were contemplating to go to just like animals who don't have shelter. Thank you so much, Mona, for joining. Thank you so much, Richard, for joining. And when we stayed with those people for a couple of days, we left, and glory be to God, they had to give my father like a driving job. So my father took their car and started doing like a driving job just to earn something. So we had to go to stay in Gwarimpa, and in the first building we stayed was in Works and Housing. And in that building, trust me, it wasn't built blocks. That time Works and Housing was still under construction. They were still trying to put block and all that. We're practically like the first group of people that stayed in Works and Housing. So we stayed in Works and Housing, and we got some bamboo and we were able to construct something to call shelter. And here comes the real life. We had to, everybody dropped out of school. No more school, because there was no money. There wasn't money to go to school. And I remembered I left Katsina State at primary 5. Do you know, as at the time I started primary school all over again, I had to be demoted to primary 3 because I have forgotten a lot of things that were taught, and we didn't attend school for years because my parents were still trying to bounce back to being able to put children in even government education, almost government free education. There was not even money to buy the uniform, the school, whatever. So there was nothing. We were just practically having nothing. But thank God we were able to struggle. My mother started making fufu. For those of us Africans, Nigerians who know fufu, my mother started making fufu, pounding fufu to supply to country, some shops that, some restaurants. So we started supplying that fufu, and that was how later on we were able to save a little money. We started primary school, and it's it like that life began, and thank God. Thank God. And things started bouncing back little by little, and later we left that place. We got a little place built with block. We are back to a block house after how many years, and we started managing. No, my life in primary school was another tough one. Thank you for joining. Achi, Kira, thank you for joining. Ogechi, thank you for joining. Tanko is my my secondary school friend, and he's very intelligent. We used to compete while we were in school. Thank you so much, sir, for joining. So right there, my mother making that fufu even when we moved out of that house, because the fufu was bringing quick money, and it was a whole lot stress to go get this stuff from the raw ground. We said, because we had to virtually go into agriculture, we had to start planting crops, looking for a way to survive. So my mother started making that fufu. We have to plant, get the stuff, peel it. After peeling it, we soak it for quite a number of 3-4 days, and get fermented. We have to wash it off, cook it, pound it, and take it to restaurants, and they'll price it. No, 300 naira. No, madam, 250. No, 200. And my mother started supplying those people. But where I attend primary school was pretty far from my house, so, and it's quite closer to the place where my mother supplies this stuff. So early in the morning, as early as 2:33 3 a.m., I have to wake up with my mother. We have to get this fufu done and get it arranged, so that as I'm going to school, I'll pick it up, put it on my head, and trust me, there is no transport. You don't even have money for transportation. So I'm going to trek with this hot fufu on my head all to the house. So I wake up early in the morning, take this fufu. I first of all take my younger sister to school with this hot fufu in my brain, in my center head. I will take my younger sisters to that same primary school, and then I have to go back to go and give that woman that fufu, then come back to school. It was a splendid experience, and every time I feel so much hotness in my brain, I felt like my brain was melting, because I have to walk for a long distance carrying something very hot on my head just to make ends meet. So that thing actually, to God be the glory, did not affect my academics, but the only thing it did was that I was constantly being flogged for coming to school late. I was constantly being flogged. And one day, Uncle Baya said to me, he said, "Gift, why do you always come to school late?" And I said to him, "Sir, it is not my fault. I come from a very poor home, and I have to help my mother so that we can get money to oh Jesus, so that we can get money to pay house rent, pay NEPA bills." And then my other sister was in boarding house, so we could get this money to also buy some biscuits, some gari, and some other things to send to her in school. So my uncle didn't believe me that I had to go and supply this thing before coming to school. He didn't believe. He was constantly flogging me, and one day he said to me, he's like, "Gift, today I have to find out the truth if you stay with your parents or your guardian." And I'm like, "Sir, I stay with my parents, but I have to help them. If I don't help them, I can't go to school." And he's like, "Today I'm going to see your parents." So he grabbed me by the hand, and we walked straight to my house. We got a cab, and the cab dropped us. And then when we got to the house, my mother sat Uncle Gaya down, and he told him, the man could practically see for himself that this girl is not telling a lie. When the man saw the rates, the poverty, he said to himself, he had to apologize to me for constantly flogging me. And since that day henceforth, he never laid his arms on me again. He never flogged me again. So anytime I come to school, he just tells me, Gift, go inside the class. So I go inside, and if not that man actually came to my house to come and verify that situation, he wouldn't have known how bad it was for me to be coming to school, like that, and constantly being flogged as a girl child, every time having marks on my body, and it wasn't my fault, and I had to do it just so we could survive, just so we could earn a living, just so we could have food in our mouths. Thank you so much, Mr. Annie Amechi, for joining. God bless you. It was really a bad experience. It was really a bad experience. Because of this whole experience, we couldn't look up to, we were all having low self-esteem. We're all having low self-esteem because even though we're intelligent, but the situation, the poverty, the whole thing made us to, lose confidence in ourselves. Even at most times, when you're in class, you know the answer, you are so ashamed to say it because you are not even properly dressed as a student. You're not looking good. Your uniforms are all torn one place or the other. You have patch uniforms. We don't have school bag. We have to use a polythene bag and it's rope on that polythene bag and hang it like a school bag. So we're all talk of the day. People were mocking us and laughing at us, making us look like we're not humans. We don't deserve education because we are poor. So all that depression, all that experience made me and my sisters to have low self-esteem. But as time goes on, we have to be talking to ourselves, encouraging ourselves that everything is going to be fine, everybody is going to be fine. And this experience, when I then got to primary school, then I was a bit growing up. Now people around us who saw so much pain, so much penury, so much poverty, being that my mother gave birth to 6 girls, some of the uncles, and thank God they were all pretty. Maybe I'm the most ugly one inside amongst my sisters. So they were all pretty. So these guys want to, help by giving you a little money to sexually take advantage of you, of us. So, and it was like, no, Uncle, me, I don't want money. Okay, I could remember one time then when I was, I think I was in primary, and I was in JS1, and then there's this thing called CD. Goat Cycle. So Goat Cycle was, I hear on television Goat Cycle, on radio station Goat Cycle. I don't know what it means. I just hear people talk about Goat Cycle, Goat Cycle. As a child, I was thinking that, this Goat Cycle, it's goat, having goats at a cheaper rate, and then you place it in your house. So there was this uncle who were pretty staying close to. He was my neighbor. Every time he calls me gifts, I will come, sir. He will say, take this money, go buy me Goat Cycle. I will tell him, where can I get this Goat Cycle? He say, go to a chemist shop, tell them to give you Goat Cycle. I will run to that chemist shop as a little child, and I will go there, excuse me, I want to buy Goat Cycle. They give me this Goat Cycle. I rush to that uncle and give him this Goat Cycle. I didn't know what it was. I was thinking that container contained gold. Hey, my ignorance. I thought that thing contained gold. I was like, every time this man sends me to go buy this Goat Cycle, and one day I imagined, and I said to myself, wow, this uncle must be very rich. Every time he's buying gold. I can imagine how beautiful inside of his room is. It's like everywhere will just be sparkling with gold, beautiful gold. I never knew I was being used. And most of the times I buy this gold, this uncle will tell me to come inside of his house, and I'll say, no sir, my mother said we shouldn't go into people's rooms, so I'm sorry, if you can't come outside to take this gold, a circle, you gave me money for, I'll drop it here and I'll go my way. So he was constantly asking me to come in, and I was wishing to come and see this beautiful gold. I don't know what always kept me, from going inside that uncle's room to come and go check out this gold. Thank you so much, Ezekiel Oluwafemi, for joining. God bless you. It wasn't funny. So I never knew this uncle wanted to have sex with me, wanted to sleep with me, being that we are poor. Because every time he tells me, do you know you're a beautiful girl, do you know you're pretty, I could see you people are very poor, I can give you money. He will give me little change, and he will tell me, just come to my room, I'll give you a lot of money, you can take care of yourself, you're a beautiful girl. And I'll tell him, thank you, I will not collect money from you, because my mother taught us that we shouldn't collect money from people. So it was the man will be wondering, how come I am hungry and poor, but I still couldn't collect money from him. Because I remember, even when we were staying in the northern part of Nigeria, my mother taught us that we should never collect anything from anybody, even if it means the family member. Before we will collect anything, we had to come and we have to tell her, the person had to tell my mother, so we collect, or we have to tell my mother first before we get that stuff. And even after you collect it, you're not permitted to eat until those people are gone and mother prays on it and you eat. The African mentality. Mr. Kofi Power, thank you for joining. So this uncle kept swinging me with words, trying to pet me, to come inside his room, to always that be free with me, I am your uncle, I can't harm you, I can't do you wrongs. Parents, we really need to be careful what we tell our kids. You have to look for a way to instill value into your kids, no matter the situation, no matter the condition. Always tell them that it's going to be better. Tell them how great they are. Tell them they can be the next richest men and women in the whole world. Take them, their personalities, no matter what they are passing through, no matter the condition. A lot of people have passed through it, and today they are celebrities too. Today they are in a better position. Today they can help a lot of people in the same situation. So my mother keep encouraging us. We read the Bible, we pray together. Thank God my mother wasn't born again before, but before we left Katsina State, a group of people came to our compound and they preached the gospel to her, and she gave her life to Christ. And few years after she gave her life to Christ, that crisis started and we left. So she still believes in God, and we all study the Bible together, pray and encourage ourselves. So back just right there in school, this I had a lot of pressure. So I thought I have escaped from the poverty thing. I never knew I was going to come and meet another group of people in school. This uncle was always there. He's always there. He's my neighbor. Every time I returned from school, he always looked for a way to have me by himself. But it wasn't working. And one day he looked at me and told me, "You, this girl, you are more intelligent than your age." And I'm like, "Me, I don't know what you're saying, sir. I'm even going, excuse me." So when I got to the school, my primary school, I saw a lot of things happening. Rape case was another thing. Back then in my school, every day they talk about rape. I'm like, what is this? What is this? Because I remember in my primary school too, I saw children doing a lot of nonsense. I saw little boys, try to, I don't know, have sex with little girls, the nonsense doing in school. And they're like, come, sorry, I don't do that. I'm sorry, I can't do that. My mother did not teach me that. And to God be the glory, my mother was not our best friend. We don't share all these things with her, but she instilled values into us, and she always tells us that everything fine, and how that we are pretty. My mother always tell us that we are very pretty, and a lot of things in the future people are going to tell us we are beautiful and all that, so those things my mother was able to tell us helped me to stand my ground, helped me to be a woman of strong will. So I was a little child, but I had a will. I had so much control over my life. So you don't come into my body without permission, and I'm just going to fight you. So when I got into that this primary secondary school, a lot of things were happening, and I thought, okay, maybe when we get to senior secondary school, it's going to be better. It's even way worse. It is way worse, because in junior secondary school I saw people having constant sex just behind the back of my school, because we have toilets and all that. So sometimes you go to the toilet to go and pee, you just see nonsense happening in school. Guess what? There was high rate of peer pressure. They were forcing me. These girls wanted to, they say, hey, we see you are very naive, you don't know life, come, let's teach you the real life, you are very pretty, we can show you the way and how that guys will respect you, how that you can always have guys at the tip of your finger. Thank you so much, Mr. Ojo, for joining. God bless you. Hi too. We'll show you the way. We could see that you seem like your family are not very rich. These guys are going to give you money. These guys are going to take care of you. These guys are going to make you look like an angel. They are going to make you pretty. And I was like, how are they going to make me an angel? My mother told me I am already an angel. She told me I'm already pretty. So how are you going to change what my mother had already said? It's like, no, but your mother told you all that, but she didn't give you money. And I was like, it's true, but I am okay the way I am. And guess what? There is no money anywhere. You have to trek to school and trek back. There is no money for transportation. There is no money for food. I was not having any, this one parents give their children, money for break, there's even food by your side, the car, there's a driver who is going to take you to school, and he's going to bring you back, and you're just going to have fun in a cool AC with music. My day, I never had all that. I had to trek to school every day of my life until I left secondary school. I was trekking, and guess what? After you have trekked back from school with an empty stomach, I'm still going to go hug some oranges, put a pineapple, banana, walnuts. I'm going to hug them on the streets just to make money. Just to make money. So my experiences growing up as a child, I had street hawking and poverty. Poverty was in the highest rates. Street hawking was a normal thing, so that I meet my classmates on the street and they laugh at me. They say, so after I come into class, you still come to the street to hawk. You guys are really poor. And I just feel bad, but I say, thank you so much, and I go ahead to go hawk and make my money. And whenever I finish selling, I come back, I tell my mother I sold everything. She's so excited, and we have to sit down to count the money, and she will hug me and say, don't worry, I'll get you something, I'll buy you something, this. Of course. It was funny. Thank you so much, Mr. Henry, for joining. Adewale, thank you for joining. So that's how it continued. So after school, I will come back with an empty stomach. I will pick the tray pan full of different fruits. I'll go out there to sell them and bring back the money. And then when I return from school, guess what? I will go right inside the kitchen to cook dinner. Nobody has asked me if I've eaten lunch or breakfast. Then my mother by then should have been back from the farm with the little things she got from the farm. So we have to go right there in the kitchen to try to prepare these things so that we could eat for dinner. And trust me, there is no meat for you to eat. You have to save that money for meat. You save it for something else. Oh my God, I could remember one beautiful Christmas where they got us something. My mother got us some shoes and clothes. We couldn't wait for 25th to come. We couldn't wait for 25th to just put our legs in those shoes, even if they were second hand. They were not new, they were second hands, but we couldn't wait to just put our legs and our bodies on those clothes and look like every other person out there. So I can imagine how much children are going through. Looking at the peer pressure, it's something. Parents, please, parents, take this opportunity to become friends with your children. You don't know the pressure they are going through. I had a lot of pressure to be this virgin, pressure to have a taste of a man, pressure to have money, to have clothes. I had a lot of peer pressure everywhere. For the first time in my life, a girl brought sex toy in school, and she was like, "You guys, try this sex toy. It's so nice. It's so nice. This thing, it can help you get this virgin at ease if you don't want a man to do it for you." And I'm like, where the hell did you get this from? It's like, please. You always counter everything I say. Come on and have a good life. Enjoy yourself. You have just one life to live. You know, if you don't enjoy yourself, and you know what? Words are powerful. Words are very, very powerful. What those girls told me started getting into my head. And you know what? I remember one time my mother would tell us that I married your father as a virgin. No woman. I'm going to treat that topic later. How parents should train up their kids. My mother would say, I married your father as a virgin. No, girl, none of you will bring shame to me in this family. Anybody who gets pregnant, I will burn that person into ashes, and all of that. So, and here I have a group of friends in class who will tell you, no, for your husband to be happy with you after marriage is such, you will not meet you a virgin. If you meet you a virgin, he's going to go through a whole lot to get you these virgins. So right now I have some guys, who will help you. It's not like they used to collect money. They used to collect money to these virgin girls, so to help to the virgin girls. But because you're my friend, they can do it for free. So these guys will help you this virgin you, so that your husband in the future will be happy with you when he gets married to you. I was like, but my mother told us that it's a pride to to be married as a virgin. Now I have peer groups who tell me, no, it's painful, it's crazy. Your husband is going to be so upset with you that you're a virgin. My friend, this virgin, go, I will tell you, I will show you on how to disvirgin yourself. Please, if you're hearing me, you can still tell me you're hearing me. I wish to know if people are hearing me so that I will know we are right on point. So this whole pressure almost got to me because, like I said, words are very powerful. I began to give them a second thought, like, really? So I should just go agree to what you're saying, or get a guy and then he disvirgins me so that my husband in the future can be happy? Like, and I'm saying to myself, are you sure these girls are not lying to me? No, are you sure? Are you sure I'm not even mistaking it? Oh, maybe they are right. Oh God, what should I do now? What should I do now? Should I really agree to what they're saying? Oh, everybody's having a boyfriend, everybody's having a girlfriend. If you don't do it, you're out of date. You are not up to date. You're not up to their level. But I said to myself, well, if the man is going to be angry with me that I was a virgin, then to hell with him, let him be angry. After all, after he's angry, he will still virgin me, and then the life moves on. So I went back and told the girl, no, sorry, I can't do it. And they all became angry with me. They insulted me, they spat on me, they left me. They said, today you are no longer our friend, so go your way. And I went my innocent way. You know. And when you come to my area, it's like a competition when it comes to pregnancy, teenage pregnancy. So when you are a teenager and you're pregnant, it's something of a pride. And I'm like, oh God, what kind of a stupid word is this? Back then, my mother used to tell me that if you're pregnant as a teenager, you are going to be, insulted. People are going to look down on you. You might not even have a husband to marry later in the future. Or people are going to say a lot about you, that you're a spoiled child, this and that. And here is another group of community where we stay. These girls are so proud of themselves when they are pregnant. They are so proud. They tell you, if you think it's easy to get pregnant as a girl child, go try it out. Become pregnant, let's see. So a whole lot of competition was ranging around my area. So girls were now proving, so to prove to another girl that you are not infertile, you are very fertile, you have to go get pregnant. So if all teenagers were all carrying pregnancy, and I'm like, wow, are you serious? So if you look at them too much, they tell you, go get your own, go look for a man to impregnate you. So you get, so those pressures, and all of them helped me to be strong. Today I have a better story to tell. I just want to use this opportunity to encourage parents. Really, please don't overwork your child. Don't ever overwork your children. Though it did affect my academics, those poverty, the whole thing I went through growing up as a child, it didn't affect the fact that I was still having love, so much passion to become somebody in life. I was so passionate. I knew that this has not come to stay for life. This will not stay for life. Poverty, this struggling, this whole pain will not be. It won't last forever. I knew there's going to be a joy someday. Joy is going to come in the morning someday. I had so much faith in God. I had so much faith in myself. I was so intelligent that I was chosen as a prefect back then in school, but I told them, no, I don't want this prefect thing. It's a distraction. So you get, I was so passionate. I was striking. Back then I used to braid because my mother then in the northern part of Nigeria, she used to have a salon. So while she was giving birth to us, God gave us this gift of braiding, hairdressing as a gift without learning it. So just like that, we were able to. All my sisters make their hair. They make hair, they braid, they fix, and a lot of things. So these things, I go to people's houses and I tell them, please, can I braid your child's hair? And I get a little money. Instead of me spending it during break, to have fun, I save that money to buy school books, school bags, pencils, school uniform, for next section, buy school sandals and all that. And guess what? It wasn't like my father was there. It wasn't like my father wasn't alive. My father was there. But guess what? He said to us that, well, nobody trained me in school, so I am not going to train anybody. So if you want to go to school, train yourself. imagine our father. Wait a minute. I didn't bring myself to this earth. And I want to go to school like every other child. My father said to me, my father did not train me. He did not train me in school. So if you want to go to school, train yourself. Or if you don't want to go to school, go look for a husband and marry. My father was jobless. He was without job, because after we left Katsina State, we came to Abuja, and then we left the former house we were staying in Works and Housing. We moved down to Gwarimpa, the First Avenue Gwarimpa. My father lost that job, and then my mother had to be the one who paid all our school fees, and she paid for the house, she paid bills, and my father even refused to work. He said it's not working, my mother should run the family. And it was hectic for her, and my mother is so passionate about education, such that she can sell her wrappers to see that you've got to the highest height of education. My mother is someone is such a mother that I would love to have over and over and over again. That woman is just too much. She is just too much. I have never seen a sacrificial mother like that before. That my mother made us strong. I thank God for those situations, for those times. If it hadn't been for those pain, those hard moments, we would have been all spoiled children. We would have been all spoiled, because we don't go to the market, we don't shop, we don't even know what poverty is all about. We've not experienced the real. There was nothing like poverty. My father had fleet of cars, we had workers, we had nannies, we have people all over. There's 24 hours, my house is busy with people. There's enough food to eat, there's drink, there's clothes, there's party there was practically party every day, and we were off having fun. And God was just merciful to allow us enjoy a little, and then he just said to us, come on children, let's go to the real life. The real life that will bring out the real you. Those moments, those pain we all went through, those hustle, that street hawking, the poverty, bring out the real us, the real personalities in us. Today I am strong, I am bold, I can encourage people who are going through the same thing, who are going through the same situation. The moment I left secondary school, instantly I looked for a job, because I needed to help my parents. I got a job and I started working, and I was saving. How much did they pay you as a certificate holder? In Nigeria, I was so passionate. I wasn't seeing my salary as small. I was seeing that salary as something that can even train me in university. I don't even know how much the university costs, but I was saving, and then I was so passionate. I was hardworking. I was so focused. I was so determined. I was a writer. I love to write things. So everything I passed through in life, I try to put it down. I try to pen it down. All the pain, I try to put it down so that I could remember my past. I wrote jam thing several times. 200 and something I keep scoring, but my dear, there was no admission anywhere. After your whole burning of candles and the lamp and all that, you don't get admission, because the rich men are going to go get your own admission. They will give it to those who have the money and the connection. All hail the great Nigeria. So it wasn't funny, but it was funny. At the time, I felt like God doesn't even want me to go to school. Let me just forget about schooling, forget about this whole thing. I'm tired about life. See, I was so pained that it got to a point where I went to I left my house in the middle of the night, where everybody was, make sure that everybody was sleeping. I wanted to end my life. I was tired of the world. I was tired of living. I was tired of life as a whole. I sneaked out of the house in the night when my mother and my sisters and brothers, everybody was sleeping, and I went outside. I I didn't care whether I was going to be raped. I didn't care if I was going to be killed. I didn't give a damn about life and God himself. I was tired. How can I be suffering from child like in secondary school? Imagine 6 years of in secondary school, and it's like it continues. I'm tired. I'm like, God, is that how long you want us to suffer before we can see, the beautiful place you have planned for us, the beautiful place you have prepared for us? I was so tired. I couldn't bear it again. I couldn't continue life anymore. I sneaked out of my house, I think 2 a.m. in the night. My mother wasn't aware, and the angel of God actually returned me back to the house. Till today, nobody in my house knew what I'm telling you now. Nobody knew what happened to me. I went out at that time of the night. I went to stand in the middle of the street because I wanted a careless car to hit me down so that I could die. I stood in that street, folded in my arms, in so much pain and tears in my eyes, and I said to God, kill me. I am tired of living. I can't continue living. This pain is much for me. I thought you said in your word that all the temptations that are going to come our way is such that we can bear. Right now, I can't bear. You have given me more than I can bear. I can't bear this. Just take my life. If you want to take me to hell, to God be the glory. Kill me and take me to hell. I am tired of living. I couldn't watch my mother go through pain. I couldn't watch my sisters go through pain without doing nothing, with nothing changing. And every day we pray to God. We go to church, we give our offerings, we sow seed. With the little money she will make from her farm work, we have to sow seed, my dear, and it never changed anything. So I was tired of God, and I said, just kill me, let me die. Kill me, I am tired of living. This life is meaningless. Nobody cared about how we felt. Nobody cared about whether we are eating or drinking. Nobody ever cared about our education. And funny enough, let me tell you, I was actually saved. I don't know how. I was just standing in the middle of that road with nothing but death in my head. With nothing. I wanted either a car to kill me, or any other thing, or any human to kill me, or any other animal, anything, because the road I was standing was close to a mighty bush. I didn't care if kidnappers or whoever was going to come out from that bush to kill me. I already given up my life. Already given up. But I don't know how. So believe me, I don't know how foolishly I walked out from that same road back to my house, back to my room, and I woke up the next day and I said to myself, wait, I thought I was supposed to be dead last night. How did I get here? How oh my God. And I said to God, okay, if you actually brought me back again to live again, then you must give me reasons to live for, and you have to change this whole situation. I'm so tired. It was as if the God did not hear that prayer. With all my struggle, I got money, I got jam form, I wrote another jam. And this time around, they said, because I'm from Imo State, they say, oh, applying your state. When you apply your state, you're going to get admission, because they even consider the indigens before they consider any other person. All lies. I applied in my state. Nobody. I didn't get any admission. And guess what? I think I was scored the second best highest. It's so funny. My result was so good that my uncle had to, my sister's friend had to take this result to the school and said, excuse me, did you say this girl get admission? And what they talked to them, what they talked to that man was like, oh, we are sorry. I think it must be a mistake somewhere. Maybe we mistakenly omitted that name. By my score, I am supposed to be among the merit list. I am supposed to be among the... I wept. I said, not again. I've written jam for more than 5 times. Every year I keep writing jam. What? And I was fed up. I said, no more. I can't spend my money transporting down to Imo. I transported down to Imo State. After you buy jam, 4,000 something, and then you go to, do some registration with 2,000 something, all with your money, not anybody's money. And then you have to transport to the States, you write this exam, you return back with all the suffering. You can even lose your job. And afterwards, you get a good score, but no admission. I was tired of life. I said, no, I can't continue. And then, guess what? The people, some of the big men, some of the big men I knew that I met, and I said to them, I know you have influence. Maybe you can help me. Not that I'm not intelligent, okay? I am intelligent. I have good scores. In all my jam, I have never had less than 200. So, but I can't get admission. I don't know why. Do you know what these men wanted? They wanted to have a sex. They wanted to sleep with me before they can help me. And I'm like, wow, really? It's like, scratch my back, I scratch your back. Gift, you're a very pretty girl, you're a very pretty lady. Come on, just let go of this thing, Just, come on. What is it? Just how many minutes? Oh, how many minutes? One of them even beat his chest and said to me, Gift, you will never get admission as long as I live. Jesus, it's so painful. He said to me, you will never get admission if I don't approve, because he works, I think he works then in JAM matriculation center. And he said I would never go to school. And then the sex he was asking for, he said to me, and just to let you know, it's not after we have the first sex, it's done, it's something that will continue. So we are going to continue having sex. So even if I get you the admission, I still come to your school to keep having sex with you. You can imagine. So even if I get married, you still keep having sex with me, because you want to offer me an admission to university. And I said to him, to hell with your admission. God forbid, if I don't go to school, no problem. Maybe it's my destiny. Maybe God has destined me not to go to school. But for me to give my body to you just to get admission to university, to filthy certificates, then I die without going to school. And he said to me, I will never ever get admission as long as he's consigned. And I said, wow, let's watch and see who is God. If you are the God, or if there's a greater God who lives. And I angrily left his office. Coming to church, it is not different. Excuse me to say, but I don't want to frame up things here, but there are some people in church that are even worse than the unbelievers. Excuse me. Yes, they are. Yes, they are. There are some people who are in church who you thought, okay, if the outsider denies me, maybe my brethren, maybe my friend, or maybe this great man, or maybe this person can help me. Miss Emeka, thank you for joining. God bless you. And I thought it was going to make any difference. Oh, coming to the great people in church. But of course, not all of them. There are some wolves. I don't know if is it wolves in sheep clothing or sheep in wolves in sheep clothing that are sitting in church with God in their eyes, and you think they are humans. The thing I wonder is, How that we all do this thing in church and still condemn the innocent youths who are about to have boyfriends and girlfriends. It is well. The same men who we all call daddies, daddy in church, we say, oh, this daddy will help us, this daddy. My dear, they don't want anything different from what the outside man is asking for. They tell you how much beautiful, how much that you are so pretty. And what they are asking from you is not a big deal. Every other person do it, so why can't you? I was so shocked when I got some of those replies, some of those talks, some of those thoughts from those men, and my hands were almost shaking, my feet were shaking. I didn't believe that a man who is in the church, who is supposed to be a leader, helping others to grow, helping others with his resources, that's if he wants to, will ask for your body in an exchange for the little help he wants to give to you. Ifeanyi Oji, thank you for joining. I didn't believe. I thought these things are obtainable outside the church premises. I never for one day think that, oh, this thing I can never find it in the church. But I did found it. So the journey continues. The journey continued, and I said to them, well, if that is all you can offer, I'm sorry, I can't. Keep your money, keep your connection, and I will be fine. As long as there is God, as long as God lives, there is nothing impossible with this God. And this thing I'm telling you, my parents are not even my mother is not aware, my sisters are not aware that there are some men in the same church we all attend who will rather ask you for your body in exchange to give you a single help. They are not. I didn't tell anybody. I only told my husband. Well, I only told my husband, and I said, it is well. It is well. God, the Bible said that we should do good to all men, and there was an exception. There was an exception in the bracket, and he said, especially to those in the household of faith. Especially. Do good to all men, but especially. So, you see, a lot of people who just sit down to, condemn others, there are a lot more they do in the hidden that nobody knows about. Clothing are covering a lot. If all the ladies in church can come out to tell their story, their truth, you'll be so amazed. You'll be so shocked. How that person you are trying to worship as a God, you are looking up to a father, as a godfather. What he's doing more harm to innocent teenagers, to innocent girls, than the physical good, than the one you see open with your eyes, than the scholarship is given with an open eyes. That there is more harm done to innocent girls in the same place. I pray God have mercy on us. You get so, but I told them that with or without you guys, without your money, without your connection, God is God, and He's going to prove Himself being good. I didn't know that all this why God was keeping me. God was preparing for something even better. I was so desperate to go to school in Nigeria. I was so desperate to go to to get into university because I wasn't dull. A lot of my classmates 5 years, 6 years ago, we left school then, we're all in school, and they just call you, hey, Gift, how far? Which university? And you don't have anything to say. So it was a pain. I was so passionate. I said, God, I'm not dull, God, to go to school. What is all this? So as at that time I wrote that jam, I said to myself, I'm not going to go write anything again, and I'm not meeting anybody for anything again. And then when I called my husband, then my husband was schooling in Ukraine, and I told him, see what happened, and then he encouraged me on phone. Then of course we were just dating, and he encouraged me, and that was how we started looking for admission in Ukraine. like that. God was so, merciful. We got that admission, and here comes another. We are now talking in millions. The money I was ready to pay in one school in Nigeria was, of course, pretty small compared to what I'm supposed to pay here. Is in dollars. If you convert it, is in 2,000 something dollars. Is in $3,000 and all that. And we're like, whoa, where do I get money to get the flight ticket, to get school fees, to get paid, to even? I'm like, no, I don't think this is possible. Thank you so much for joining. God bless you. Mr. Paul Bassi, thank you for joining. So it was almost like impossible. I was like, God, you gave me admission in Ukraine, so how do we go about it? God is merciful. God is awesome. You know what? We started looking for my mother was happy, but where's the money? Who will do it? How do we get the stuff? We look around, we look left, we look right. There was no uncle, no auntie, nobody to help. But I said to myself, if God has brought this admission, He's going to bring it to pass. He's going to glorify Himself. He's going to use my testimony. He's going to use my family to encourage as many out there who are passing through the same thing, who are looking for admission, who are into one pain, one problem or the other, just so that His name can be glorified. So we got this admission, and as usual, we went to meet some people. This. How can we be of help? Can we even get loan? I know my father had my father had lands and all that. My father, though, wasn't even ready because he's not interested in our education. So he wasn't even ready to contribute anything. Anything you want to do, it's your problem. So that was how we couldn't do anything other than to pray, and also to believe God that everything is going to be fine. So just like it goes, we started trusting God, we started praying, we started making connections, started trying to see. I started doing my stuff myself. I go to the embassy, get inquiry. I go to Ministry of Education, like that, trying to pull up things. And to God be the glory. Few of my friends were able to contribute to my coming to Ukraine, and then I thank God for that moment of my life. It wasn't funny, but it was worth it. It was worth giving glory to God. And today, I am not just in Ukraine, but God is awesome. He's doing His thing, and I am not just in my first year. I'm not just progressing. Life is beautiful. Life is going forward. You see now, I was leaving for Ukraine. She was like, are you serious? Oh my God, she was so excited. And today, people who never saw any food coming out of Nazareth could see God in action. They saw that all this was not the works of men. If it were for the works of men, if it were for the plans of men, trust me, I wouldn't have been. My whole family wouldn't have been anywhere, any place to talk about. Nothing. There was nothing good to actually talk about us, but just for His name be glorified, and for Him to prove that He is God alone, and He is able to do all things exceedingly abundantly above all that man can think or imagine. He proved Himself God. You get. And some people, even after I left for Ukraine, they were like, no, we don't believe she's in Ukraine. I think she's in one village. I think she's one place hiding. And I think this, I think that. Like, it's your problem. Anything you want, go ahead and think. God's name is glorified and we continually being glorified. So just to encourage my friends, just encourage you guys, my parents and every other person out there, never give up on God, never give up on your dream, never give up in anything you're doing in this life. God is there. He is there watching you. He just wants you to go through those things so that you can have testimony, you can have something to tell somebody out there. You can tell him thank you at the later end, because imagine we never went through all that. Imagine I had none of this experience. I wouldn't have I wouldn't have anything to say. You get. So God is there. Don't give in your virginity. Hey baby girls, don't allow peer pressure to allow you get into what you do. It wasn't easy for me to say no. It wasn't easy for me to disagree to their pressure. It wasn't easy. Trust me, it was way almost like impossible, because my friends then were like, maybe I'm not a woman, maybe I'm important, maybe I don't have, okay, but I knew where I was going. I knew what I was looking for. I knew the goal. Nothing could stop it, So I just want to encourage you, parents, please just be a friend to your girl, to your children. Always try to know how they're doing. Easy as a parent, to make life so easy for you as a mother, as a father out there. Don't keep anything from your children. Think you are protecting them. Don't keep it, because you don't know how much good you'll be doing to that boy child, to that girl child. You don't know how much good you're doing to that child. Imagine as a mother, and then you sit your girls down and you're baby girls, do you know what happened today? A man toasted me and I told him, no, I'm married. It's like, just forget that ring, and they just all laugh and say, mommy, everybody's so happy. And before you know it, they all start sharing their own stories with you. I mean, do you know what happened today? Oh, me too, I had this, me, I had that, me, I did this, me. That's how to bring that real truth from them, without forcing to tell you the truths, without forcing them to tell you the truth. You just share some little things about yourself, either when you're growing up or what happened a few minutes ago between you and some persons, and you see you'll be amazed what will be coming out from their mouths. And now, don't, just for an advice, please don't yell at them, don't shout at them, don't make them feel like they did that, you did that, you did it. No, just make them feel comfortable. And if there's any advice you can give to them, and then pray with them, and life goes on. And tell them on how people overcame and how you overcame as a mother, or the faults or the mistakes you made. Believe me, you don't know how much good you're doing to those kids than harm. So that's my experience. Made me became, I had this punishment of going late to school, but thank God where we are. I had a beautiful academic experience and a bad one, of course, but I wasn't a dull child. And today we're celebrating. We give God the glory where we're going. So this is my experience growing up as a girl child. I know I just touched some part of it. It's a whole lot package all the way. It's a whole lot package all the way. So thank you so much for joining. Thank you so much for coming. God bless you. I hope you've learned something today from growing up as a girl child. I hope you have learned something today, something to carry home, something to learn, that if you are in a position to help people, please do not act ask for anything in an exchange. Do not ask for anything. Believe me, you never can tell where that poor child you are looking at, that poor girl you want to take advantage, is going to. You are not God. Don't predict people's life. If you have an opportunity to be a blessing, do it with all your heart. Do it for the sake of God, for the sake of tomorrow, for the commandment God has given to us as humans. Just do it with love. Please do not take advantage of anybody's situation just to, get at them. Please, it is really, really very wrong. For you to see a poor kid, you to see a poor girl, oh, she's pretty but they are poor, so the only way to get her to bed to sleep with you is to give her a little accommodation, is to give her a little help to get her. Please, if you have done it, if you have done it before, please, it shouldn't be a continual thing. Ask God for mercy and let that life change, and then start helping people with all sincerity of heart. Your blessings are waiting for you, trust me, because that child you want to take advantage of might be they might be a solution to the problem that you have been having, might be a helper to you or your kids tomorrow. This world revolves, it goes round like, this earth turns round, it's like it goes into circle. So they say what goes around comes around. So just allow God to use you and be a blessing to somebody. Please do not ask for anything in exchange, and even if they are willing to give you ignorantly, please do not accept, as long as it's something it's not worth accepting, especially when it comes to their privacy. Please do not take advantage of it. And believe me, you don't know how much good you are doing to yourself than that. So thank you so much. I hope you have learned something. Share with your friends, share with anybody who you think you can encourage with my testimony, coming from a poor home to the place God has kept me today, the beautiful lady He has made me to be, from that ugly bad looking child with a torn uniform, torn clothes, shoes and no slippers, no shoes, to the beautiful girl God has made me to be today. So share with your friends that tomorrow will be great, tomorrow will be better, tomorrow will be good. Never give up on yourself, everything will be fine. So thank you so much for joining. God bless you. Oh, Mr. Vitalist, music guru there. Thank you so much, sir. Keeping on. Thank you. That's good morning. Somebody say, Mr. Ojo Pelumi say, that's good morning. the morning is good, eh? Thank you so much. I'm so glad. I'm so glad. So somebody's like, no, it's my hard-earned money for me to give it to you. You have to sleep with me. But it's wrong. Come on. If everybody does that to every other person, then we will not find virgins in this earth. There's going to be a whole lot of catastrophe, a whole lot of evil going on. We are going to produce more prostitutes than we have even now. So please, just help people, bet people. If you have the opportunity to, if God give you the opportunity to help people, please help with so much honesty, with all joy and gladness from your heart. If you don't have, you can still explain to them, and life goes on, because you have kids, and believe me, these people will meet your children. If they don't meet your children, then their own children will meet your children. So imagine that the anger, that what you have done to them, the anger has been passed to their children. So generation will be looking forward to harm another innocent children. That's your children, to harm your own children because of what the father did. So please, if the father did right, I remember one of my friends telling me that, Gifts, I am helping this guy because the father was so nice to us. The father took us, gave us food, show us love when we had nothing. Today I'm working in a very good company, and their father is late. Even though they are university graduates, they have certificate, but they don't have job. So I'm doing this as a payback of what the father did for my own parents. You see life. So that other person was poor, and today it came like this other way. This other person now became poor, and this person became rich, and here comes the help. So this person is helping, you know. So life is like that. You never can predict people's tomorrow. You never can predict people's life. You're not God. So just keep doing the good you have to do. Encourage the poor when you see them. Do good to them. Teach them to better their lives. Teach them any way you can. You might be the answer that they are looking for. So be a blessing to them like Jesus has become a blessing to all men. And his name be glorified. So you get your crown and your reward also here on earth, there in heaven. Thank you so much for watching, guys. I am super excited, and thank you for staying till now. My experience growing up as a girl child, okay, thank you. So have a nice day, guys. Bye bye.